right, hey, welcome everybody to the We Hate Anime podcast, the only podcast that goes on hiatus for 2 months, and then I have to bring it back from the dead single-handedly with
Yeah,
my
single,
co-host,
fuck you.
with my co-host Titty Witty.
Yeah, wait, that's me.
Yeah. So, fun fact: podcast isn't dead. It is. We got it on life support right now. That's what we're doing. However, Tid and I are the only people that actually work like the American dream of 9 to 5, Monday to Friday. We've been trying to get everybody else involved, but Sudoku's like, hey, I want to have the baby, and so now I got the baby, and I got no free time.
I'm trying to be a responsible part. Fuck you, I don't watch anime anymore.
Yeah, it's really weird watching like the equivalent of a mental zoomer be a responsible dad. Like, I didn't expect this to happen.
The most responsible for all of us. God damn.
I can trash talk him all I want, dude, because like nobody else is here. It's just you and me.
Yeah. Freedom.
Yeah, is there anything you want to say about like do you want to rip into Frog about like the fact that he runs Mystic Mind decks or something?
Well, I haven't played against Frog yet, but one time when I told him, hey, do you want to edit this video? He was like, you know what? I'm kind of busy right now. I'll let you know. And he never did.
I'll tell you though, because Mike's getting into another card game. I have this video. I need to send it to you. It's like 3 minutes long, and it pretty much summarizes why I'm never gonna play another card game in my life that isn't like poker.
What have you played before?
So I played Magic briefly. I played Magic back when Infect decks were a thing. I've played Pokemon back in like 2002, so I heard it got a lot better. Those are like the big ones. There's been like miscellaneous card games since, but like we're gonna talk about like what sits on the table, like that what people played. Because there was like Rage of Bahamut. I played that for a while, but guess what? Yep. Nobody else did.
Of course, yeah.
But yeah, no, it's a video. It's like 3 minutes long. Where turn one of the Yu-Gi-Oh like actual game, like the one that everybody's loving right now.
Of course, yeah.
It's turn one. It's 3 minutes long, and it's sped up by like ×3. A guy in one turn draws his entire damn deck and gets a monster up to like 99,000 hit points or like attack points, and it crashes the game and causes his opponent to lose immediately. Turn one.
That does sound like modern Yu-Gi-Oh! It's the one reason why I want to get into the game, because everyone is like, oh, it has no resources. It's great. It's very fast paced. I'm like, if it has no resources, there's no tempo to it. I don't want it. It's just stupid. I recently reinstalled Magic Arena myself because I was like, you know what? I burned out because I kept using the same deck because I played ranked. So you know what? I'll just experiment with all the colors. I'll see what I can do. I reinstalled the fucking game. What did I do? I got back to my old deck, played a few games, and was like, wait a minute, that's stupid.
Dude, I can tell you right now, like, so you got Magic the Gathering and you have Games Workshop with Warhammer 40,000. Apparently they've started really liking Age of Sigmar right now, but like 40K is their bread and butter, hands down. And a big issue I have, and I see this happen all the time, is I'll go to my local card shop, which, fun fact, your local card shop, if they carry Magic the Gathering and they carry Games Workshop, 80% of their profit is going to come from Magic the Gathering.
I mean, probably. I'm not surprised.
No, that's not even a joke. I've talked to a bunch of game shops, and a lot of them are like, yeah, we only carry Warhammer 40K, so you people shut up. Like, we can't even make a profit on it.
We carry Warhammer 40K, so you come in, look at the prices of that, and then maybe a Magic booster pack instead.
No, basically, that's exactly what happens.
I know,
because Magic,
that's what happened to me.
Yeah, well, it's so I see these people, like, every time a Magic the Gathering launch party comes out, and I'm not going to dab on somebody for their financial situation. But I don't think I've ever seen a guy who plays Magic the Gathering drive a car worth more than like $9,000. And understand, like, I'm not singling people out here and being like, oh yeah, only poor people play Magic the Gathering. But I'm saying, like, there is probably a financial demographic for Magic the Gathering, and Magic the Gathering is super predatory to those people.
Yep.
Because what is it, like every 3 months, an entire pack, like an entire era of cards rotates out of competition?
Entire set, yeah. So basically the rotation is anything for the past 6 sets, I believe. So a year and a half, that's valid. And after that, it can only be played in standards in formats like Modern or Legacy or shit that uses, all the cards up to a certain year. So yeah, good luck.
Well, and I understand to an extent because somebody, I think I watched like a breakdown video by mistake once, where somebody's like, "Here's why we can only do this 18 months." He's like, "Here's my Liliana Vest card from 7 years ago, and here's the current deck rotations. If I were to play Liliana, it was like actually I think it was blue decks. I think he was talking about blue decks specifically. He's like, if we were to allow to have these cards from 7 years ago with the current meta, I would never lose."
It's always the blue decks, and I'm saying that as someone who plays black blue.
No, I when I played, I will say I played monochrome black, and
Oh,
you would have to get me out kicking and screaming because I hated blue players. Blue players are actually there's a type there's a type for blue players, and players tend to be people who might have been intelligent in elementary school. Like they may have been like, your kid is so gifted. He's in the second grade and he's reading at the fifth grade level.
he knows how to multiply in grade 2. That's amazing.
Yeah. Like it's those kids who then got an ego, and for the rest of their life, because they slightly got ahead of the rest of their classmates because they didn't have after school activities like Taekwondo or something.
Yeah.
They have a false sense of superiority. Those are the people that play blue decks, and I want to fight them.
Moth just putting me as a single co-host on this show today and shooting me right in the face. Thanks.
Just all right, Sudoku. I got one bullet, 2 bullets, one for me and one for you. I'll shoot myself first, and then I'll get you. No, but yeah, and so Games Workshop is actually like doing the exact same thing. I know COVID was big for Games Workshop. COVID was like the most financially successful era for Games Workshop.
Now we know who's responsible.
Well, yeah, right. Well, I mean, probably because all their product comes out of China. Fun fact, I actually know a couple of recasting websites. I will always advocate for piracy. And Games Workshop has gotten too much of an ego lately, so if you want third-party recasts, just come find me on Discord and I'll get you the links.
Well, we've got a 3D printer ourselves, but we mostly use it for tabletop RPG figurines. I think my roommate tried to get himself Imperial Guard army printed because fuck buying 200 models just to deal 5 damage in one turn. But yeah.
Dude, I play orcs. My issue with 3D printers, and this is as somebody who actually paints models, 3D printers are not as good for painting models as you'd think, unless you want to really overbake your models. And what I mean by that is you have to print your models, and generally you don't want to hollow them at all. Like if you're printing a model that you intend to paint, you're not going to hollow it at all. And then when you put it under your UV lamp, you want to bake it for like probably 5-10 minutes to the point where it's like brittle enough that it's going to break, because otherwise the model's going to eat your paint.
Yeah, the resin is kind of bad for that, right? Since it's liquid.
Makes sense. And the same thing happens right now. So you have, I would say, Warhammer Games Workshop is number 1 played tabletop RPG right now. And then I would say number 2 is probably BattleTech. And number 3 is War Machine Hordes. Resin models, which Games Workshop has a couple of resin models, it eats your primer. If you don't prime those models, you're going to be painting and you'll do your base layer, and then all of a sudden, like, half your base layer will have seeped into the resin.
It goes.
Yeah, no, that's not a joke. So everyone's like, "Oh yeah, 3D printers are gonna ruin, they're gonna ruin the hobby." It's like, no, those plastic molds are good. Like, they are very good quality. They are designed to be painted on. They are great. So, I'm okay with piracy, but like if you think a 3D printer, especially if you paint miniatures, is going to be a good idea, it's not.
Yeah, that's why I said we just do characters for tabletop. Yeah, 10 minutes of us talking about tabletop ship. You can tell that this podcast is on fucking life support, and Mike has power of attorney, so he can't pull the plug.
No, it's. I told you flat out that we weren't really. I mean, we're going to talk about Cyberpunk. We're going to talk about Cyberpunk. And we're going to talk about Little Mermaid and and Isekai Uncle.
Little Mermaid is not an anime. What the fuck?
No. It's so, because I still hang out in all the spheres because. I'm gonna be honest with you, dude. The right has better memes than the left.
Sure.
So I'm going to hang out with the most racist, repulsive human beings on the planet because their memes slap so much harder than everybody else's.
The economy makes you do that. Yeah, the Cyberpunk gets into that as well.
Well, I need you to understand. Like, you know how the left always makes the joke about how like right wing people only have one joke. It's like, oh yeah, you guys only have one joke, and that's trans suicide. I need you to understand. Y'all only have one joke too, and it's trans rights.
That's not a joke. I hope.
Well, no, but that's like a slogan. Like, you guys only got one slogan. It's like the right is so full of hate that they got a new meme every single day.
Need to stay on the edge of the fucking hate economy. Yeah, I can see that actually.
Yeah. No, it's like I'm like, oh boy, these people are bad people, but damn, those edits of Gachimuchi porn are great.
Oh yeah, speaking of
I'm,
hate, actually, see, if anyone hates my accent, this episode you'll hate it even more. I've got a dental suture jabbing the edge of my tongue for the past 5 days, and I fucking hate it.
so I got a question for you. Do people actually complain about your accent?
Sometimes, yeah. Recently, one of my videos got fucking pirated to Bilibili, the fucking Chinese equivalent of YouTube, and half of the comments after I put them through Google Translate were, "Where the fuck is this guy from? I can't even speak English, and he's even worse."
Wait, you got posted on Bilibili?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, that's how you know you made it. You made it to Bilibili.
Hell yeah. And I won't even complain about the piracy because it links the original video. I'm like, just holy shit, if some Chinese guys wants to contact me to get these subs, I can get him the script in 5 seconds. I got all of them saved. Just please.
Gosh, I feel bad though because like I know there is a certain level of like the accent that causes problems with people. Like they have a hard time getting over it. But it's something where it's like, dude, you just have to grow up. Like I understand that you hear somebody speaking English like with an accent or poorly, and it drives you absolutely ballistic. But it's like, guess what you sound like in their country?
Americans just sound like movies.
Yeah, it's depressing. By the way, did you know that was a thing? All American movies have this like weird, unless the movie's like specifically a period piece, like it takes place in Alabama or something like that.
A period piece in Alabama.
Well, there's a term for it. I think it's called like the Atlantic accent or something. It's a fake accent that Hollywood created.
I mean, I can believe that because it has the same cadence and feel to it as theater kids who try to read their fucking play about, I don't know, farting into a cake that takes 3 acts in the very pompous and in a clear tone to make sure the audience understands. The Hollywood accent is very similar to that.
Yeah, and it's called the Mid-Atlantic accent. So it's an artificial accent that was created. And
wait, Hollywood is on the West Coast. Why is the fuck is it Atlantic? Atlantic is in the East.
I got no idea, man. I really don't. Speaking of Hollywood, though, I have a theory, and I wish Mike was here so that he could like threaten to murder me because I think I'm going to say it to you, and you're just going to agree with me.
Okay.
So right now, people are apparently unhappy with the Little Mermaid casting. I don't know. Have you heard this? Have you heard about this? Have you seen this? Have you heard about it?
No, never. People being mad about the black actress? No, I would never. Impossible.
First off, I don't think I've seen like a live action Disney movie since The Jungle Book when like the two working neurons in my brain put 2 and 2 together, and I said, "Oh yeah, these exist solely for copyright protection." Because that's why they're doing that, right?
Yeah, of course. It's IP protection. Why else?
Yeah, it's copyright protection. That's what Disney's good at. That's what Disney's known for.
Live action Lion King, which is fully CG.
Oh man, that was terrible. I think actually I did see The Lion King, but like, these movies aren't for me. But people are losing their mind. The constant joke that I see, and this is a repeated, regurgitated joke that the right likes to use, is they get told they need a ginger actress, but the casting director is dyslexic.
I think I've seen that one.
Yeah. I actually have a different theory, actually. All right, you ready for this? Redheads don't got no damn money.
Well, no, they're Irish. Why would they have money? All they've got is potatoes and family.
They spend it all on potatoes and car bombs. No.
Speaking of, happy fucking whatever to all the Irish people. The Queen is fucking dead.
I'm actually more excited for the Egyptians.
Oh yeah, hell yeah. Honestly, we can be excited for the entire world right now.
No. You know why I'm excited for the Egyptians, right?
I mean, I know what the British did. Do you mean they can take all the things back from the British Museum?
No. So you know the Queen killed Princess Diana, right?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Do you know why she killed Princess Diana?
Because she's a bitch.
She was dating an Egyptian.
Oh, she was an Egyptian, and that's why she got crushed.
Well, that was the joke when Prince Henry or Prince Harry, when he started dating like that one chick, like Angela Merkel or whatever her name is.
Yeah.
The joke, like, because you all see, whenever you see a picture of the queen looking at her, like the queen had like a look of pure disgust on her face,
Wow, what a surprise.
and it was like, "I killed my own daughter for less," was like the caption.
Yep.
Oh,
Yep.
yeah, no, it's I guess everybody online celebrating. I don't actually care. So, if you're happy the queen's dead, more power to you. If
I
you're not
care
happy
because
the
I
queen-
fucking work for the British. Every time I turn my work mic on, I hear the automated, "We're very sorry for the passing of her Queen Mother." And I'm like, fuck off.
I will say though, I have heard some horror stories about people now in the UK, now that the Queen's dead, that they're really worried about what the government's going to do, like during the time of mourning.
Uh-huh. Like?
Like, have you heard about this?
No, go on. I need to
Okay.
hear this to verify this.
Mike's gonna lose his mind because like the one time he's not here, it's a political podcast. So the Queen's dead, and so they have like they created a bank holiday for her death, and
Yep,
that bank
19th.
holiday was Well, no, it was spontaneous. It was like, yeah, we're gonna have a bank holiday this day, whatever.
Mhm.
And a bunch of people got surgeries that they had scheduled 10 months in advance canceled.
Yeah, that happened. The bank holiday is 19th, the Monday, and every time I'm at work, I'm like, "Oh yeah, we'll call back Monday," and everyone, the customer is silent for a second. They're like, "But that's the Queen's funeral." I was, "Oh yeah, right, I forgot. Sorry."
Yeah, so I heard that's just the tip of the iceberg, that they're really worried that that they're going to pass a bunch of laws through Parliament and stuff like that. Like, I have heard that the Queen passing is going to be an attempt by the state to take more power away from the people.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised, but the entire affair is a lot of the UK government showing their ass. Aside from the fun fact that the Queen met the new Prime Minister and she fucking died 3 hours later, which is great. It's also the fact, like, suddenly the UK trains say, "Oh yeah, if you miss your last train home after the funeral, you can sleep in our trains for free." And it's like, oh, so there is shelter available for the homeless people. You just fucking never did it, huh? Okay, cool.
Hey man, you could be like us in America, where we just put spikes wherever a homeless person might sleep. Because,
No, the British do that too.
Homeless people can't get a hold of mattresses really cheap.
Well, that's because they can tear the tag off them, right? That's illegal.
Well, no, that's the thing, is like, if you so they put a bunch of spikes to stop the homeless people from like sleeping under bridges and whatnot, instead of like putting better funding towards homeless projects.
Wow.
So they would just like raid mattresses out of dumpsters and throw them on the spikes.
I mean, that makes sense, yeah. There is hostile architecture everywhere. Recently, when we've been in Wrocław, here in Poland, the benches there were just, this oldest train station that looks like a fucking castle in a Hollywood movie. Just architecture that is 500 years old, all the benches, metal with holes and armrests. Like, fuck you.
Yeah, the armrests are the ones where it's like, they don't want somebody to lay down there and sleep.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't get it, because like normal human beings sleep. Like I'm in airports all the time for my job, and you just look, and people are sleeping. Dudes in business suits are sprawled across 4 benches sleeping.
That's me.
So yeah, so I don't get it. But back to the Little Mermaid. Gingers make up like redheads. People with red hair make up like 0.3% of the population.
Are we getting into diversity statistics now? Oh no.
No. So they ain't got no money. 0.3% of the population. How many famous redheads do you know? Like, how many famous redheads are there? It's like Carrot Top. That's it.
Alexander the Great from the Fate series?
No. Currently alive.
Okay.
Carrot Top. That's it. That's all you got. We got Carrot Top.
I mean, yeah, David Bowie died.
Yeah, David Bowie's dead. We got Carrot Top. So, and Carrot Top is currently like on so much Trenbolone, it's not even funny. So, they don't got no damn money. So, if we replace one demographic with another that tends to spend more money, we're going to make more money.
I mean, yeah, sure, that works.
Yeah. I don't feel like that, because I'm sure you were worried when I brought up the Little Mermaid, I was going to get into like critical race theory or something, but no.
I know you better than that, but at the same time, I'm very ashamed that you know me well enough that you pose no matter how bullshit theory, as long as it rests on, okay, but they do this as a way to extract capital, I'll be like, Yeah, you know what? I can believe that.
Mike's listening to this a week from now, and he's like, "Why?" He's like, "I let Moth have the reins twice now, and he did an abortion movie, and he talked about critical race theory in The Little Mermaid."
Don't tell the Mike, but we're trying to make him pull the plug. He has the power.
No, I like you guys. I do. I just wish that you and I were the only ones who ever had any free time, because we could have recorded this episode like what 3 weeks ago.
I feel really fucking stupid because last time I was on this podcast was I said, "Oh yeah, I won't be here for the next episode or two. I'm getting married," and this is the next episode. Fuck you guys.
By the way, congratulations on the marriage.
Thank you. It was great. I never want to do it again.
Yeah, that's actually my wife and I were talking about that. I want to say like 2 months ago. And for anybody listening who's like planning on getting married, I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, I've met like one, maybe two bridezillas in my entire life that have to have their like marriage about them.
Mhm.
I would say most people just want the fact that they're married out of the way so they can get the tax benefit. Like,
Yeah.
so there's nothing wrong doing like just a justice of the peace wedding or doing like a small chapel with like 8 members of your family.
We've been together for 9 years. The law just hasn't got up. But the issue in our case was that, yeah, we want to just, a small wedding, the close family, some friends. That's nice. Okay, Tid, what is the closest family for you? Oh, it's 80 people. My dad has 8 siblings. All of them have families. I have good relationships with all of them. Some of them flew from fucking USA here to get here. I can't diss that.
Damn. Yeah, yeah, that's how the Mormon wedding was too. Like on my family side, it was like me, my family, and then my uncle and one of my aunts, because like nobody was gonna fly to Germany to see me get married.
Oh.
And then my wife's family, meanwhile, so like my whole wedding party was like maybe 9 people in total. My wife's wedding party was like 40.
So we had the gender swapped version of what we had.
Yeah, basically, it's like Mormons are eco-terrorists. We are
invasive species.
Oh, we absolutely are. We came into like every single one of your cities, took your white women, and left when you exiled us with your women.
Like the Romans did, keeping the tradition alive.
We had a 7-to-1 female to male ratio by the time we got to Utah, and we knew it.
Oh man!
All right, so story time. Before we talk anime, do you want to do story time?
Go on.
Okay. All right, those of you who don't know, everybody should know. My job is I go out to the middle of nowhere and fix medical equipment, and I'm incredibly good at my job. However, I always get stories whenever I go out into the middle of nowhere, and I'm not going to tell you where I was for any of these stories because the communities are so small that if for whatever reason you could pinpoint where I was, you could probably dox these people. So one of the places I have to get to, you have to fly a plane into another city. So you have to get on Alaska Airlines. You have to fly a plane out to the middle of nowhere, no cell service whatsoever. And then you have to find a private charter and pay them to fly to the town that I was going to. This town has a population so small, like you could have like a Motel 6 in the middle of nowhere with like 50 rooms, and the population wouldn't even fill that Motel 6.
Okay, yeah.
So I'm sitting here waiting for my flight, and I sit down, and a woman comes in, and this woman looks like she kind of looks like a human boiler. Like she was really short, she was really stout, and she looked like she was 600 pounds crammed into 4'7" body size. Like, and I don't mean like she was like uber fat or anything. I just felt like she was dense. Like I felt like if I tried to lift her up, I couldn't, because like in this small frame there was like her like every muscle or like every molecule in her body was worth like 3 normal molecules.
She was a big girl. Yeah, that happens.
No, but that's not the thing. It's like, it's not that she was a big girl. I would say she was a compressed girl.
Okay. You just could feel the power radiating off from her.
Yeah, I could feel like the density of a neuron star just looking at her. And I'm like, this, I understand, I'm not calling her fat. I'm just saying like she looked dense physically.
Yeah, getcha.
Yeah. So she comes in. She looks like she just got hit by like an ice cream truck. Because she like limps in, and she goes up to the front counter, and she looks at the guy, and she's like, "I want to go home." And now understand, like this airline flies to like 7 villages, so home is a very vague term. And the guy's like, "Okay, you got any money?" And she's like, "No." He goes, "Well, this ain't a charity." He's like, "Either get the council to pay for you, or get out of here." And she goes, "Call my man." And so I kind of start zoning out at this point because I think I was playing Parkitect. And And so I hear the phone call, and the guy's like, "Hey, are you so and so?" And it's a one-way phone call. I can't hear what the guy's saying. He's
Mhm.
like, "Yeah, I got a woman here. Says you're her man." And then he pauses. He's like, "I'm not sure." He's like, "Is your name?" I think he said like Rhonda or something. He's like, "Is your name
Yeah.
Rhonda?" And she's like, "Yeah." He pauses, and I hear the guy say, "He's like, well, I can't smell her from here." And the woman yells like, "Damn it, Daniel, I'm sober." And so I kind of get the feeling that she like went on a bender because a lot of these villages are dry villages where you can't drink, so you have to like leave the village to go get drunk.
Yep.
So like, damn it, Daniel, I'm sober. Like, just pay the man. I want to come home. And so I guess the guy must have paid for her because she
Mhm.
then like sat down across from me and just started sitting there. I think she got up to smoke like twice. My boss calls me and tells me that I'm spending the night in the village I'm staying at, so I had to run back to my hotel in the city I
Great.
was staying at, go get my clothes, and so I missed what happened. But
Mhm.
in like the 10 minutes I was gone, I opened the door, and this guy, like the guy who runs this airline, is actually like a pretty mellow human being. He's like pretty mentally like you're okay. You're like he's a pretty mental like mellow guy.
Yep.
He is screaming at the top of his lungs, like, "Get the hell out of here! If you don't leave in the next 5 seconds, I'm calling the cops." And the woman's like screaming. I'm just like, "No, F you, I paid." And like they're screaming back and forth. She's like, "We paid." He's like, "I'm refunding your damn husband. Get out of here." Um, and the woman's like screaming at him. And the guy like looks at one of the bag boys that loads the planes with the luggage.
Mhm.
He looks at me and goes, "Damn it, she drank all the hand sanitizer."
Oh
I just
God.
yeah. So I'm dying because like I just come back and I hear this guy yell that a woman drank all the hand sanitizer, and she runs out of the airport like as fast as she can. And it's like the last I saw of what happened there. But it's like, what did I miss?
And we never saw her again. Yeah, the
Yeah.
benders do that to you. There is the old joke in Poland that you're not 18 unless you've woken up on a fishing ship going to Norway or something after you woke up. Actually, since it's story time, it's a very similar story here. This is regarding my wedding. The day after, we always have an after party. They call it poprawiny. So basically, fix it in Polish, which basically means you get all the food, you get all the alcohol that was left over, and you finish that shit.
Okay.
Problem was we were in a hotel and they added more. So after everything was done, most people don't drink on that day because they're in cars, they need to get home and such. But the day after, we get a bill from the hotel staff, and I say, okay, for wedding this was this much, the service, the food, and for the after party, I don't know how to tell you guys this, 84 bottles of vodka. And we're like, wait, who was actually
Oh
drinking then?
no.
It was my dad, my uncle, my father-in-law, my wife's father. I think that's it. I think that's just them.
They went through 84 bottles?
Yeah.
Holy crap. And like, vodka, for those of you who don't drink or don't know, like, I think vodka starts at like what, 60 proof?
Yeah, 30%. Yeah, that would be about it.
Yeah.
It was about 35 or 40, I believe.
And I assume you guys, I don't actually know how it is in Poland, but I assume like most of your bottles of vodka start at about like 0.75 liters.
Halves or 0.7s are the most common, yeah.
Yeah. So like, understand, between like 5 people, they probably drank 40 liters of vodka in one day.
Yep.
That is,
and after a party during which they already drank quite heavily.
yeah, holy cow, man. Like, oh, because we always joke about the fact that like nobody can outdrink a U.S. Marine.
Mm-hmm.
But like the fun fact is, like, as somebody who has like a bunch of U.S. Marines that I hang out with and stuff, those guys will drink like a fifth of rum, and then they'll be like, "Oh yeah, I was totally wasted, man." It's like, nah, you don't outdrink Polish people. You will never put in as much beer as a German, and you will never put out as much vodka as like an Eastern Bloc Soviet.
Sad but true. The worst part about me it is that I remember back in the day when I was like 18, 19, I could outdrink my dad quite easily. But ever since I moved out, I only drink at weddings and funerals, so my tolerance just went through the floor.
I'm proud of you though. As somebody who hasn't drunk in probably close to 2 decades at this point, like I'm proud
Oh,
of you.
neat.
Yeah. No, I actually have an addictive personality, so like I try to keep the number of vices down to a minimum. Right
I
now,
mean,
it's like pretty much just caffeine and working out.
you're telling me that I've been smoking a vape all the past half hour here.
All right. So we got story time out of the way. We got the Little Mermaid out of the way, and we crapped on people who play Magic the Gathering. I think it's been a pretty productive episode for just 30 minutes.
That's what we do.
Yeah. So do we want to talk about Isekai Uncle before we talk about Edge Runner?
Hell yeah. Actually, with Isekai Uncle, I think the last episode we watched was 4. So like got a good handle on that, but I'm not sure what's after that.
So okay, so I'm just gonna fill you in, and then we'll fill the audience in. And this is not how we should probably do it, but I'm gonna do it anyway. You know how he has that rewind ability where he can retell the thing? So they do something that's very typical for these types of animes, because this is a harem. Like at the end of the day, this anime is a harem. He gets 3 women by, I want to say, episode 7 that all like tag along, and they insult him, but they all want to bone him.
It's a beautiful harem because it has 2 harem protagonists who realize the other one is dense and doesn't know shit about love, but not about themselves. It's great.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good. But oh man, I loved when his uncle was talking about the plot of Evangelion. It's like trying to explain. He's like,
did you know really Asuka likes Kanji?
Okay. But he has that rewind ability, so he starts rewinding because they basically do like an ecchi episode. I think it was like episode 6 is where they do like this ecchi episode where he like strips both the ice princess and the elf and like all this stuff. Normally you get those episodes in a harem, and that's like 100% fan service, and it's just there for the fans.
Yeah, just for the titties.
Yeah, just for the titties. And like to an extent there was a lot of that there. Not that either of those girls are like super sexually drawn. They definitely go for more of like the Gao approach where it's like, look at their faces while this happens.
I mean, I would dig down that elf, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I mean, and honestly I like the Ice Princess, but in episode 6 she starts having like weird pet play fetish stuff going on.
Oh no.
Where she's like, if I don't have to work, I'll be a dog for you, Ugu.
Oh no, I know that girl.
Yeah, exactly.
She dates Mike.
So episode 6, they do that. They do a harem episode where it's like, oh, we're in a hotel room together. Look at me getting the wrong situations over and over and over again. But his nephew and his girlfriend are watching the entire time. And so the entire time it keeps switches between like these looks of just sheer judgment and like, what is wrong with my uncle? So they do the harem episode, but then they do it like in a way where it's like, oh yeah, look, normal people think harem episodes are weird. So it's good. Isekai Uncle. So for those of you who don't know, it's I feel like describing an anime as like it's an isekai, but is pretty much describing every isekai out there.
But it's an isekai, but also a reverse isekai because he comes back. I don't know.
Well, it's an isekai, but he's a vending machine. Like it's just there's so much isekai. It's an isekai, but he goes back to his own time by healing time and sticks a hot poking iron in the princess's vajayjay.
It's an isekai, but actually he didn't travel to this world. It's just fantasy, you fuck.
Yeah. So yeah, it's I don't like it. I don't like isekais. Actually, the one last season I really enjoyed. It was the one where he was a mob character. He got reincarnated into his little sister's otome game.
Yeah. We watched that for the seasonal, I remember.
Yeah. It's like it was like a complete. I wasn't here for the seasonal. It was a total matriarchy, and I love that one. That was actually a pretty good isekai.
God, I wish I could be treated as an object by woman. God damn it.
Yeah, right. Give me that Benny Gesserit wife. But no, so Isekai Uncle, the premise is a guy gets isekai, but his body stays behind in a coma. And then he spends, I think it's 20 years, because it was like 1998 to 2018, I want to say.
I think it was 17, because he was 17 when he got, he didn't even know he has a nephew, and now his nephew is like 18. So something like that.
Yeah. So it's so he'd been in a coma for 20 years. I think it was 1997 because that was when Sega was still kicking and they weren't in their death throes, which is weirdly relevant to this. So
my first love was Sonic and Tails.
So 1997 he gets put into a coma and he wakes up 20 years later and he swears he's from an isekai, or he swears he got isekai'd, and his nephew doesn't believe him, and he's like trying to cast magic in his hospital room, and he can't. And then he figures out how to talk to the spirits in the human world again, like our world.
Yeah,
And
just
so
use Japanese, you fuck.
yeah, and so he's a really good. He won basically. When he was in the other world, he became the ultimate hero, and he did everything the ultimate hero needed to accomplish. And so he comes back, and he's still completely socially inept. And you found out that he was like totally socially inept the whole time he was there too.
No, of
Everyone
course.
mistreated him and hated him because it was a world full of beautiful people.
Yeah, and he looks
And
like a typical guy with, so they thought, oh no, it's an orc.
Yeah, exactly. But you'll discover this. I want to say episode 6 or 7. You find out that when you get isekai, the god of the world grants everybody a gift.
Typical, yeah.
Yeah, so apparently a lot of people had isekai before him. So everybody gets a gift, and the god got bored and put the gift on automated. So like when you showed up, like the first thing you wished for is what you got. And his uncle wished for the ability to understand what everybody was saying.
I
So
see.
he has the ability to translate. But because everybody has to get a stupid isekai power that's broken.
Yeah, of course.
His isekai power is that he can communicate with anything. And so he starts communicating with the spirits that control magic in the world.
Oh, that's how he got so broken. Because he's the only one invoking spirits so far. That's true.
Yeah, and he will be the only one who invokes spirits. So
Cool.
it's
That's actually really cool. I like that.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's like he has a broken power, but it's like the dumbest thing imaginable. But it's my anime of the season, hands down. Out of everything we're watching this season, weirdly enough, I dropped a lot this season.
What did you
It's
drop?
pretty much well, there was Shine On, Bakamatsu Boys I dropped. That was the biggest one. I could look because pretty much everything on Crunchyroll I dropped. I dropped Tokyo Mew Mew. I dropped Call of the Night.
You dropped Call of the Night? Why?
Come on, because it's just fan service. It's I don't like mental masturbation that exists for lonely guys to like feel not lonely for a bit.
I'm not lonely, but I wish a woman kicked me out of the window and grabbed me to the air and then dragged my ass across the night sky. I'm not gonna lie.
I pushed my luck with my wife and watched Vermilion Gold for as long as I could with her.
That bored me to tears in the first step.
I love that. I love that so much. Man, I like I'll admit, like I don't like mental masturbation and I don't like stupid stuff that's just like, look, giant titties on a show. Like I don't want to
But
at the end of the
physical
day,
masturbation, though.
like at the end of the day, I'm a monkey in a human body. And so like, hey, I see succubus with giant titties and lazy eyes. I want to watch this anime.
I'm not gonna lie. I wish Miss Vermilion a lot of fan art, but I'm not gonna watch that.
Yeah, I wish Vermilion and Gold a lot of fan art, but and yeah, it does get boring. It doesn't have a good animation budget. It's just there for ecchi. But that female lead is perfect. 10 out of 10 character design.
Not gonna lie, yeah, that's true. I think with that, the thing that put me off was like, it got me exactly what I expected, and then there was like, oh yeah, it's gonna be a fight, and then you don't even see that, and I was like, oh, I see. Now you're gonna give me that, huh? Okay.
Well, at one point, one of the characters drinks an invisibility potion, so they don't have to animate her like sneaking past a dragon or a Cerberus. No, so Vermilion and Gold, I kind of liked, but I could tell I was pushing my limit because I watch all my stuff with my wife. That's the reason I still haven't watched Baki to this day, is because my wife hates Baki.
Oh
Yeah.
no. I mean, I haven't seen it either.
So we dropped Vermilion and Gold. We dropped it. We pretty much just dropped everything this season. The only things we're watching is Maiden Abyss, Isekai Uncle, and I think there's the new season of Overlord. Congratulations! It took us 4 seasons and 10 years for him to meet a new player.
Oh shit, that's a mix-up.
Yeah, so 10 years, 4 seasons, and he finally ran into another player.
I only watched the first season. I don't intend to go on, but hey, nice. Something happening.
It's I don't know, as far as isekais go, because everything's an isekai now. Overlord's not bad. I'm trying to figure out how I would define Overlord. It's kind of like when I was a kid, I enjoyed watching Dexter's Laboratory, and I enjoyed watching a lot of the shows that were on Cartoon Network and whatnot. And if Ed, Ed and Eddie came on, I wouldn't turn it off, but I didn't care to watch Ed, Ed and Eddie. And that's how I feel about Overlord. Is like if a new episode comes out and I got nothing else I'm watching at the time, I'll watch the new episode of Overlord.
I see. I mean, I appreciate the main character being a skeleton. That's always a plus, but...
Well, the last isekai where it was a giant skeleton was terrible.
Oh, no.
Skull Knight in Another World or whatever it was called.
Oh, yeah, that shit. I remember. Yeah, holy fuck. We did watch that for the season as well. It was so boring.
I was so bored. I quit after one episode. Wow, one keeps jumping. Oh, the new JoJo. Part 6, part 2. Can we talk about how Netflix killed JoJo?
Yeah, it's horrible. I haven't seen part 2 yet precisely because of that. It's come on.
Well, they released part 1, and then they announced that it's going to be a 4-month hiatus.
Yeah.
And then they just dropped part 2. They just dropped it. There was no fanfare. It was just like, oh, by the way, part 2's on Netflix now. Later. Yay. And part 2 is amazing. Like, honestly, part 6 might be my favorite part so far. Like, I love Joseph Joestar. He's my favorite JoJo. Mm-hmm. But part 6 may very rapidly become my favorite part.
Jolene is great. I really like the first part so far. I haven't read the manga. I'm a plebeian. But yeah, I need to get onto that. I also need to get on Made in Abyss because I know it's out there. We just haven't had the time to watch it. We've been watching X-Files.
Made in Abyss is so uncomfortable.
Of course it is.
I do not like Made in Abyss. It's so funny because my wife and I were kind of these people where it's like, I will watch gore. I will watch Hostel. I will just watch the most violent and messed up movies to watch people get murdered. Like, as long as it ain't children or animals, I'll watch people get murdered all day. Love it. Sure. I liked Corpse Party when they did that anime. Because there's this level of just like stupid brutality. Like, there's no point to this. It's just brutal to be brutal.
Good gore. Yeah, good gore is good. Yeah, that's what I want to say.
Made in Abyss. Mm-hmm. Every horrible thing you see is calculated and intentional to get the most impact out of you. Yep. And so, spoilers, by the way, for the next 30 seconds. Do you want spoilers or do you not care?
I don't particularly care. I got spoiled on everything that happens around Bondrewd before the movie came out, and I still enjoyed it. So,
okay. So the second season takes place in 2 times: the past and the present.
Oh, sick.
Yeah. Well, it takes place like you learn about why a city exists at layer 6 of the Abyss. Because I think they're at layer 6 now. You find out that the city's here and that people are living here. And you basically find out that there are these cursed artifacts that only children can use.
Of course.
That will grant wishes. But if you don't, I think if you don't specify what the wish does, the wish will corrupt to do whatever the Abyss wants the wish to do.
Of course, a jerk-ass genie. Classic. And for children, so they won't fucking try to metagame this because they're stupid and children.
Yeah, well, and the thing is, if you stack wishes, because you can find multiple of these artifacts, if you stack wishes, they start interacting with each other.
Oh.
And so this little girl gets really sick, and they give her, and so she found out she was infertile. She was in a culture where women are just breeders, and they're excited to be breeders. They're like, holy crap, I get to be gangbanged my entire life. Because, this main gaka writing a story about a 9-year-old excited to be gangbanged is pretty par for the course.
Yeah, at this point,
yeah. So she wants to have a kid, but she's infertile. And so they give her one of the rocks while she was sick, while she wasn't thinking, and they assume she made the wish of like, I wish I could just have kids. Mm-hmm. And she didn't specify anything, so the Abyss corrupts it. And so she gets this like gaping maw in her stomach where she just like gives birth to these like little rabbit creatures.
Oh no.
Every single day she gives birth to another one. And the problem is they don't have functioning mouths. So they're stillbirth within a day. And so you find out, so then her body just keeps getting like more and more corrupted every day, every time she gives birth, and it becomes like less and less human. She becomes like a birthing tube. And then before she loses her sanity, it's implied somebody gave her a second wish stone. And said, hey, don't you want to protect the people of this? Don't you want to protect these people that you've been friends with for years? So
it doesn't seem like a bright idea, but go on.
So it assumes that she then wishes to protect everybody. So she has 2 wishes inside her now. She wishes to be a mother and she wishes to protect people. And So the both wishes corrupt her, and she starts becoming like a physical house, like a giant house.
Oh, I see.
And
Yeah.
so she ultimately becomes the village. Everybody who's living in the village is living inside of basically her brainless husk now, because she got so big and so large and so like basically Soviet industrialized. She no longer has a brain,
Man,
and
it takes fucking Made in Abyss to say that, oh yeah, this 9-year-old wants to get gangbanged is the less terrifying option because the alternative is becoming this Skaven female. Holy shit.
yeah, exactly. So then finally she gets a hold of a third wishing stone. I'm not sure how, and that's the entire premise of the season. Is the third wish she wishes to destroy herself and everyone living inside her. And so she gives birth to the new character Faputa, who is the ultimate daughter. Just 10 out of 10. This character, every time I see her, I look at my wife, I'm like, can we have kids now?
More than Prushka, how?
Yeah. Well, no, I didn't like Prushka.
Oh, you bitch.
I didn't like a titty lolly. So yeah, the entire season's been really good, but it's just like, I think there were some episodes where after watching it, I looked at my wife and I'm like, can we stop watching now?
Can we just start having sex instead, please?
Yeah, like, can we stop watching this now? I feel dirty. I have to take a shower. But Made in Abyss, it's been very good this season. I would say it's
gonna binge it. Go on.
I have guys who are literally in the sandbox and watch people explode who don't like watching Made in Abyss.
Yeah.
So last one then, Edge Runners, I guess.
Yep, Cyberpunk Edge Runners, the series I didn't expect much from and got quite a lot, to be honest. I like it.
I'm gonna try to avoid. Well, I guess it's hard to avoid spoilers with me. I will say I like Edge Runners a lot, and the two things that I genuinely like about Edge Runners is that they're true to Cyberpunk. Like,
yep,
you can tell everybody who directed this, wrote it, did anything on it, knew what Cyberpunk was.
not just as like a genre, but as a setting as well. Because my roommate was really excited for 2077 before it came out, and he played that game to death and back. And after we finished the first batch of episodes, he like started the game again and started taking screenshots. And like from the first episode, there's like 20 places in the city they show you. They're all from the game. It's like modeled 1-to-1. Great.
Well, his apartment complex is V's apartment complex. His apartment is V's apartment. I'm trying to think.
The train station is there. The bar that the episode 3 takes place in, I think, is also there.
Well, yeah, Afterlife. I will say the one thing, and they drive this home in the setting, because I think even if you played the tabletop RPG Cyberpunk 2020, they pretty much say your story ends when your character dies.
Yep.
And that's actually a big emphasis. And they tell you, this was why, spoilers for those who haven't beaten the game, they tell you at the very beginning of the game that, like, this story ends when you die. And they told you it in the trailers. They're like, the story ends when you die. It's not how you live as a cyberpunk. It's how you die in the city.
Yep.
So that when you die in the game at the end, when your brain basically goes to mush, you're like, oh, wow, they've told me the whole time that I was going to die. And I like in the show that they say, like, hey, you're going to die in Edge Runner.
Yep. In the game, it's basically like, look, you're gonna die, but how will people remember you? Are you gonna go out in a blaze of glory? Are you gonna just leave the city? Are you gonna let Keanu Reeves take the keys? Or are you gonna fucking sell out to the corporates? They'll turn you into Keanu Reeves too. Which is great.
Exactly. You at least get to kill Adam Smasher, though.
Yeah, he's a bitch in that game. Holy shit.
Dude, I will say I really appreciated how much Worf effect they did to get Adam Smasher so scary. Like, you have to run from him. When you do Keanu Reeves flashback, you're killing everybody, and then Adam Smasher puts you in your place in like 5 seconds.
Yeah, that's true.
So with this show, they love, like, it is a love letter. I have some issues with the show, like the fact that they killed my favorite character first. I am so mad that they killed Pyler.
Well, they killed David's mom first, technically, but yeah.
Okay, yeah, but we're talking about good characters here. I like the fact that they showed how horrible trauma teams were. Like, if you don't have insurance, they're not going to help you.
The fucking scene in the first episode where like they come to a car crash scene, they look at people and they go, "Nope, this one doesn't have insurance. Moving on." Like, Jesus Christ.
Well, something that I thought was really interesting. I think it was episode 5. Was episode the 5 the one where they were hunting the brain doctor?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. So the sequence, and this was really, really interesting to me because I remember like my wife and I had just gotten married in like 2012, 2013 or something,
Hmm.
when the first trailer for Cyberpunk dropped.
Holy shit! It was 9 years ago. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, it was a long time ago. In that trailer, it shows Max Tech coming down on a chick who went cyber psycho, and like the entire trailer is just a still image that they rotate around.
Hmm.
It's a chick who went cyber psycho and is sitting in the middle of the street with dead bodies around her, with mantis arms, and Max Tech is basically shutting her down. Like that's the
Yeah,
entire trailer.
as bullets placed the background, and at the end, she's part of the Max Tech. They didn't kill her; she joined the team.
Oh, was that what happened?
Yeah,
Oh, I thought they killed her. But in episode 5, when he's reliving that brain dance, that's that exact scene from the trailer.
it is. Yeah. The you don't realize it first because it is his character instead of her, but it is pretty much him. It's great.
Yes. So
And
there are a lot of love letters.
you know what's funny? It's more of a homage to that trailer than the fucking game did because Max Tech never shows up aside from one side quest where they do nothing. It sucks.
I thought they showed up that if your police rating got high enough, they would come.
There
and
is no
kick your
police
teeth.
rating.
Yes, there is.
Yeah, you
Go
you,
play the game and shoot a cop and watch what happens.
You turn a corner and they disappear.
Well, no, but if you decide to GTA it like when you were a kid, it gets worse.
I know
Like if you don't run from the cops, it progressively gets worse.
the rating stays in a place for so sure that I never got to see it, and I played the whole game to completion. So I don't know, maybe.
Yeah, no, I get. Um, man, I'm just thinking about it. My biggest issue with it, when it comes right down to it, is you have two characters. It's the story of David and Lucy, and you watched episode 7, right?
Yep.
And so David has so much character development, even to the point where his entire body develops.
Yeah, it's great.
And I feel like Lucy doesn't go anywhere. And
Yeah,
we haven't seen it to the end, but like
Mhm.
I really, you introduce Lucy, and Lucy is a person. She is very much a human being. Like she's got personalities. They have her do the whole thing where she like kicks out of an ambulance backwards in a gurney and rides down the street while he's tripping out from an overdose.
The manic dream pixie girl of Cyberpunk, and it was all an act.
Yeah, and it was great. All these things they did with her, episode 1, episode 2, episode 3, and even her backstory you learn later on, like why she's a good net runner. All this is great, but the moment she becomes David's girl, all that is Lucy goes away.
I mean, the Netrunner backstory that came after that, but at the same time, I think that they really front-loaded her story, and that's why you might feel like it, because the camera focuses more on David from that point onward.
Yeah, but like, okay, but I would say like you have Pilar. Pilar made it 3 whole episodes and died, and I felt like I knew who Pilar was better than I knew who Lucy is, who is still alive at the point of like me, because I guess everybody dies by the end. But like, I know who Pilar was. I knew who he was inside and out. He was a great character. I know who Rebecca is. I knew who Maine was. I knew who Rodeo was, or what was her name? Oreo, Rolio,
Dario?
Dorio. Yeah, I knew who Dorio was.
Main's girlfriend, right? Yeah.
Yeah, Maine's girlfriend. I knew who Dorio was. I knew who all these characters were. Lucy is just like, I'm here to be David's love interest.
She wants to go to the moon.
Yeah, I want to go to the moon. I'm mad at corporations because they made me a child farming incident. Like Lucy could have been a much better character than she was, but because she has to be David's girlfriend, she's not a good character.
Yeah, I'm kind of conflicted in what I want to say about Edge Runners because I really like it. And I like it in big part because of how breakneck the pacing is, because in
Oh
10
my
episodes,
gosh.
they really squeeze a lot. But at the same time, I feel like they don't give all characters the screen time they can give because of that. So it's a mixed bag.
By the way, I want to say episode 5 where he wakes up in the Ripper Doc's like brain dance and he's surrounded by dead bodies. I got very nervous very fast
Yeah.
because you remember the scene in the game where you have to go into a snuff brain dance.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm watching that and I'm like, I don't want to do this.
No, not again. Not again, please.
Yeah, not again. I'm not here for this.
I already went through one mass murderer's dreams. Please, thank you. That's enough.
Yeah, I don't need to do this again. One other thing I will like, I do at the end of the day, I would give this a 9 out of 10. It is all style, no substance. You are not here to feel bad for the characters as they die. You are here to enjoy
I'm, I'm
this
gonna
is
say
like
some,
Redline. This is
yeah.
like Redline. It's beautiful, it's fun to look at, but there's nothing going on.
I mean, I think I'm gonna repeat what I'll probably say when I finish it today, which is I think this is like an 80s OVA. It's balls to the wall, it's gore, it's very fast, it's beautifully animated bit when it comes to bodies or mechanical parts, and the
Yeah.
story is decent. I like the characters, but at the same time, it's not gonna change my life in any way. But holy shit, will I remember that fucking moment when Main just pulls out an arm cannon and splashes the dude all over the ground. Holy shit.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, no, or like the sequence where you just like see a person get ripped apart like point by point by point, like just from the explosion.
Yeah, or like when they're talking with Maelstrom and there's no dialogue, there's just fucking screamo metal blasting, and Lucy just cuts people up with monowire. Amazing.
Or I actually think the sequence that I thought was probably the best done was in episode 7 where it showed David going up against like the hulking cyborg.
Uh-huh.
And it showed their exchange in slow motion where they're like, he's dodging the hammer, he's like getting ready to uppercut him, like all this stuff. And then they show it, it ends, and then they rewind it and show it from the perspective of everyone else.
Yeah, it's split second everything happens.
Yeah, exactly. And I love that.
It's great.
Another thing that I truly, genuinely appreciate, this is going to sound really weird, but I really like Dorio. And the reason, well, no, the reason I like her is because that character, 90% of the time, especially if an American got a hold of her, she would have been a lesbian.
I see where you're going.
No, she would have been a lesbian, because of her type of character.
Yep.
And one of my wife's biggest complaints, and even mine, is that a lot of times, you have really good, really powerful female characters, and they're like the type of characters that I feel like a lot of girls should want to aspire to be. And they go, okay, because you're strong, because you're big, you're obviously a lesbian.
Yeah, I see. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a valid complaint.
It's like, why can't you make the crappy little manic pixie dream girl in the corner the lesbian? Like, why does she have to be the vanilla love interest? I don't want to bone that. I want to bone the 8-foot tall mountain. That's why Brienne of Tarth was such a good character.
Dario is a huge buff woman, and her man is even bigger and buffier. It's perfect.
Well, did you see? I didn't realize her legs were cybernetic until the very end. Yeah, but I really like Dorio. I really appreciate what they did with her as a character. My wife was grossed out the entire time, but the scene where her and Maine are making out and Maine's having a phone call with
Yeah, that's great. Bad moment, kid. Bad moment.
Yeah, I so far, and I probably will to the end, I enjoy Cyberpunk. And my wife who's not even super into it because it's all style, no substance, she's taking stills from the show to use with her art because of how well drawn everything is. Like how well colored, how well drawn.
The colors, the posing, and the movement of characters is beautiful. And I'm glad you're more or less as far as I am, because every time Rebecca pulls out guns, runs them dry, and then pulls out bigger guns, it's like, mwah.
I think my biggest issue with Rebecca is they establish what every character on the team does. Dorio and Maine were muscle. Pilar, I guess, he was a techie. He wasn't a net runner. He was a techie.
He was a techie and he did explosives, yeah.
Yeah. They kind of, David's the runner. Like, he's the actual runner. They have Rebecca, and Rebecca's supposed to be the guns expert, and I don't think I've ever seen her hit anything.
She provides, what's it called? Covering fire.
Yeah, I was going to say, she is the definition of suppressing fire. Because I don't think she's ever hit anything once. I also like that when they do the time skip, you see that she's become her brother.
Yeah, she does the same party tricks and also got buff,
the hands,
like arms. Yeah, it's great.
I thought it was adorable when she walked on her hands over to David. That was a great scene.
Well, want to have a drink? Yeah. I'm not good at just playing friends, you know. And like, damn, David.
No, it's good. One of the other sequences, because you could pull this apart and find beautiful scene after beautiful scene. But at the very end of episode 6, it reminded me of something Vince Gilligan would do. Because he dashed into the car with Maine's left hand. He gets into the car, and they drive away, and it cuts to his face. and all of it is a still image except for his eyes.
Yeah.
And like there's like I said, I've been saying this the whole time. It's all style, no substance. There's no substance to this anime. And so even a character having a traumatic experience doesn't mean anything because it's so like um
Sure.
but the look of trauma in David's eyes was so well done that even for an anime with no emotional impact whatsoever, that felt great.
I think it's impacting me emotionally quite a bit. As I said, I grew to like these characters a lot, and even if I didn't know them for very long, they make a strong impression. But episode 6 in general is just like everything that they portray there with the cyberpsychosis and that finality is just perfect.
Yep.
It's really great.
Yeah, I like it a lot.
Also, yeah, speaking of actually, the fact that they decided to convey cyberpsychosis in the animation by the eyes getting all fucked up and multiplying when somebody looks at you, I don't know how they got to that, but I like it. I love it.
It's so Ghost in the Shell, it's not even funny. It really was. The whole time I was watching, I'm like, this just seems like Ghost in the Shell, like somebody snapping.
Yeah.
So I would definitely recommend because I believe it or not, I don't actually watch stuff anymore. Like if I'm not playing video games or basically just like listening to Red Letter Media on YouTube, I'm pretty much not watching anything anymore. I'm getting disconnected from a lot of media, but I am binging Cyberpunk.
Moth is like, we gotta record. No, I didn't watch it. Why do you ask?
Well, like I told you, like I'm watching Isekai Uncle, I'm watching Made in
Yeah.
Abyss, and I'm still watching One Piece.
Oh, yeah, I suppose. No, I'm pretty much in the same boat. Like, as I said, nowadays we've mostly been watching X-Files, and that's not very anime.
Yeah.
But I'm glad we got to sit down and do anything today, because I missed you guys. At least today it's just you, but hopefully next time it will be more.
Yeah, and I really, and like I said at the beginning of this episode, like I didn't even do a Patreon plug, and Mike is probably going to want to like string my nuts for that. But this episode is just to let you guys know we're not dead. We're not dead. We all work, and Tiddy and I are the only ones who. By the way, the reason I call you Tiddy is because pronouncing your name as your like weird Polish spelling is like I can't do it. I'm physically incapable of making my tongue bounce like that.
Wanna know a secret? It's impossible in Polish as well. That's the trick.
I like that video I sent you about like the Nazi officer trying to enter a Polish dude's name.
Grzegorz Brzeczyszczykiewicz. Powiat Łękołody, Częstochowice. It's a classic Polish movie. It's called How I Started World War II, and it's basically about a guy bumbling his way through the entire period and causing shit by being a bumbling idiot. It's great.
So it's Mr. Bean?
Yeah, pretty much, but it's much more intentional than Mr. Bean, because that's not his real name, but he's trying to troll that Nazi officer by using that name.
Yeah, that's actually it's funny you should mention this. So I don't watch stuff, but in all the years, because my dad was a huge British cinephile, he was like a BBC file, which I realize like out of context sounds horrible. He loved British programming. Like he watched Mad Hatter. He watched the original Doctor Who's back in the day, back when it was still black and white. He loved Monty Python. Like my dad loved British television. In all this time, he never showed me a show called Spitting Image, which I guess was like one of the UK's most popular satires.
Okay,
like,
as someone who's also very much into Monty Python, I never heard of that. So go on.
Okay, Spitting Image is a puppet show. It's a very heavily satirical puppet show, and it's definitely left leaning. Like if you have left leaning politics, you'll probably like Spitting Image more than a conservative. Because I mean it's British humor. Like and understand this is actually something that's really interesting. I know nobody likes Count Dankula here. I know even mentioning his name, people don't like him. Yep. But Count Dankula is famous for saying, he's like, you guys don't understand. You all think like you guys here are they like, oh yeah, Count Dankula is based and he's right wing. He's like, if I took my politics that I have now in the UK, you know, I'm considered like very right wing here in the UK.
Yep.
If I went to America, you guys would call me a liberal cuck. And it's true, because if you actually like hear some of Count Dankula's, I know he's got like some really messed up politics because he's just a troll. Yeah. But at the end of the day, I think he's actually still for like socialized transportation and whatnot. And you try to tell an American conservative that, and they'll skin you alive.
Yeah, pretty much. I don't appreciate him mostly because, especially recently, with the Roe and Wade. I think his first instinct was
Oh
to
my
throw
gosh.
people online, and you know what? No, not the time. Do
No,
that
no, no,
day
no, no,
later.
no, because he did it again. He did it again when the queen died. Did you see what happened?
No, I didn't.
Okay, so the one thing I will say about Count Dankula is if he sees an opportunity, doesn't matter if it's sacred or not, he will jump on it. So I always appreciate when somebody is an unabashed troll, like when they are 100% there to troll.
Mm-hmm.
And so when Roe versus Wade happened, he pretended to be a Supreme Court justice.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody was believing it too, because he even changed his picture.
Yeah, I saw that. That's what I meant exactly.
When the queen died, he pretended to be like a nobile, like an actual like British nobile.
Yeah.
And it was something like, I don't remember exactly what happened because believe it or not, I don't pay attention to a lot of this stuff anymore. But he pretended to be a British noble involved in her death.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess like all of Twitter was believing that he was like, incompetently responsible for bumbling her medication or something.
Oh, that shit. Yeah, I also saw the news item that Samuel Hyde, MD, was responsible for botching the treatment.
Speaking of which, I've really lost my favor for Sam Hyde in recent years.
Oh, really? Why?
Well, I liked Sam Hyde a lot when he was doing $1 Million Extreme.
Mm-hmm.
But there's this point where it's like, oh wow, you actually hate women.
Oh no.
Well, I enjoyed $1 Million Extreme, and out of context, without knowing who Sam Hyde is, a lot of skits are really funny. Like the coffee table skit. I think the coffee table skit is one of the funniest like skits. You know which one I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
The one where they're at the dinner party and he trips the dude's wife and like hits her in the. If you watch it frame by frame, not only does he trip her, he like slams his beer bottle against her head as she goes down.
Oh god.
And he's like talking to him. He's like, "Hey man, your wife broke my coffee table." He's like, "But you tripped my wife." It is the dumbest skit, but you find out that like the more you watch him, the more you're like, "Oh yeah, you're actually a bad person." Like you hate women. I mean, like his whole thing with Hassan Piker right now. Like I don't know who either of these people are. I assume Hassan's a piece of crap because I saw him like. Hassan reacts to the Queen's death, and it was like the worst YouTube thumbnail I'd ever seen.
You can't trust anyone that does that thumbnails with their face on it. They're not respectable people. Yeah,
so like I'm kind of burned out on Sam Hyde. He's a person who like I can honestly when $1 Million Extreme first got dropped by Adult Swim, I didn't get it because my mindset was like, why is Eric Andre still on Adult Swim then? Like he's hyper political too. Because he went to the DNC and the RNC during the 2020 elections and clowned on everybody. And so I didn't get it, but like years later, I'm like, okay, yeah, I can see why you'd want to drop Sam Hyde.
I see. I'll be honest. All I know about Sam Hyde are the fucking memes that blame him for everything.
For everything that
for some poor guy had a comedian.
No, he is. I mean, it's hard to really describe it without like my buddies that getting at me and go, oh, you go into the leftists, you could become the liberal cuck, and I'm like, no, I really just I'm burned out on Sam Hyde. Like I don't find him entertaining anymore.
Politics are which comedian you laugh at, and the more you laugh, the more left or right wing you are. That's all there is.
Well, I'll be honest with you, I've never met a funny left wing comedian.
Wait, I'm sure it's secretly in my brain now, but I don't remember any names and I can't bring any counter examples. Damn it.
Well, Bo Burnham's definitely left-leaning, and my biggest issue with Bo Burnham is he thinks he's God's gift to the world. And even though he dabs on it, he's like, oh, look, I'm acknowledging that as a male comedian, I think I'm the best thing ever. But it's like, but you do.
Yeah.
Like, it's not a meme when you actually think that.
Monty Python, I guess. I don't know.
and maybe Robin Williams. Because Robin Williams is timeless, and I love him. But yeah, there you go, Mike. There you go, Mike. You're not in an episode of Tid and I civilly talk about politics. Get wrecked, nerd.
Impossible.
Yeah, right. So I think that's it, man. Anything else you got?
No, wash my garbage. That's it.
Yep. And I'm working on a video because I got stuck in the middle of nowhere for a week, and I played Parkitect for 32 hours, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Over the course of 5 days, I played
how's that
32 hours. Did you enjoy Roller Coaster Tycoon?
Hell yeah, I did. Oh,
then buy Parkitect.
Sure.
That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, that's not like my jam. Recently,
Yeah,
I
it's
bought a game that was called Tavern Master, which is still in early release, because I thought, oh, hey, building
wait,
a
wait,
tavern. Yep,
is it
go on.
Tavern Master or is it one sec, I have it on GOG. I think I know what you're talking about. I'm pulling up GOG while we talk right now. Go ahead, keep going.
No, I just want to say that it seemed like a fun idea, building a tavern as like a city builder, but they definitely undercook a lot of their systems. And I built barracks with nothing but wooden furniture and scarce decorations that are, but because it was so fucking dense, I still got enough prestige to get the king and the queen sit on my shitty desks
Oh,
and eat food. So,
I'm actually going to talk about this. Own games. I'm actually like pulling it up right now. Crossroads Inn. Is that what it's called?
no, the one I played is Tavern Master. What is Crossroads in?
Never mind. Never mind. Crossroads
Okay.
Inn was big because it's like, hey, we're gonna create this tavern simulator, and then like they're later like, by the way, if you pay $1, you can watch your guests have sex in their rooms.
Oh, base. I need to buy
Yeah,
that.
and I'm like, what the hell? Like, what is this? No. So I'm working on a video for it right now, and I probably shouldn't admit this because that's gonna guarantee that I'll never finish the video. In
Classic.
Parkitect, I had a theory because you can always like I've been cheesing this game because once you play something for enough hours, you just start cheesing it unrepentantly.
Mm-hmm.
I've been cheesing the ever living daylights out of it, and so I was curious about because they want to see decoration, they want to see immersion. So what I
Mhm.
did is I completely decorated my park with the ground was made out of magma rocks, so it looked like a burning hell. And my
Sure.
rule was that I could only decorate with corrugated steel and rocks. And so I had one park that was like this Alien Worlds park where I had like a bunch of like exotic flowers and I had a bunch of like giant mushrooms and fungus.
Mm-hmm.
And it has like an environment rating of 50 of 100 because at one point in my park, guests can see where like employees grab boxes to move to the stores.
Mm-hmm.
So its environment rating is 50 out of 100. This other park, I blocked all of the shops. I blocked all of the shops with corrugated metal, just
Yeah.
like ugly corrugated metal, and put rocks everywhere. And it has a environment score of 95.
Welcome to Brutalist Park. He's efficient, huh?
Yeah, exactly. It's like as long as they don't see the plebeians like building their park or like working in their park, they're happy.
The most American game there is. Holy shit.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that's been the podcast. Hopefully we'll have better content in the future. I know Frog, who's been dead for years now, is like at first he said he was busy and I believed him because like, you always want to believe your friends. I honestly think Frog lost interest and he's only coming back because he loves Chainsaw Man.
I mean,
Sorry,
I'm
they're only
not
coming
gonna
back
discredit
because
it.
they like Chainsaw Man. I screwed that one up, but my apologies.
well, Frog was able to work on editing my video on Chainsaw Man, so I've got no counter arguments here, honestly.
Well, they worked on it because it was Chainsaw Man.
It's a
It's
banger,
like-
by the
it's-
way. Watch it.
And I'm being mean to Frog right now because I like Frog and I want to spend more time with Frog. So there you go. That's what happened. One of us actually had a baby. Egg, I'm pretty sure is in the same boat as Frog. I think Egg lost interest too.
Egg just fell off a boat and died somewhere in Massachusetts.
I will say Lardo has been our sleeper MVP.
Yeah. Lardo is
I-
like fucking coming through every time, be it editing or having to be on the podcast. As long as he's not at work, which unfortunately he does work.
Yeah,
Banger.
absolutely. Lardo has been such a gift. And then we have Mike, who's held the whole thing together for years.
And Mike is about to stab someone and commit domestic terrorism if somebody comes with a complaint at his work again.
Oh my gosh. So like, do you talk to Mike outside of this podcast? Like, do you have other Discords that you talk to Mike in?
Not Discord, but sporadically. I just we chat personally or DM on Twitter or some shit like that. Yeah.
Oh, see, if I DM him, it's usually something like, hey, do you mind if I take the podcast in this direction? He's like, well, you just gave me another ulcer, Moth.
I mean, I don't judge him.
No, not at all. I do it to give him ulcers.
That's how you know it's true love.
Yep.
But usually it's either about games or coincidentally because he or I posted some bullshit on Twitter that sparked a discussion. That just happens.
Yeah.
I'm not a sociable person. I'm like on 20 Discord servers and they're all muted.
Oh yeah, no, like I said, I'm definitely in a Discord filled with white supremacists for the sole purpose because they have really good memes.
The most pings I got recently is because Project Moon is releasing a new game and the head janitor stepped down because it turned out to be a gacha. And he's like, I can't support that anymore. I'm like, okay, yeah, sure, bye.
Well, you can have some good gotchas. There was actually one that came out on Steam not too long ago where you paid for the full game, and then it was a gotcha game, but you couldn't pay to roll gotcha in real life anymore. Once you bought the game, that was it.
What was that? Holocure?
I don't remember. One of my buddies and I talked about it a while ago. It's just it's a gotcha game. It's a gotcha waifu game, but you pay for the game and then you will eventually get all the waifus inside of it because it's single player.
That's based.
Yeah, it was kind of cool. Yep. So now I'm gonna go play Cyberpunk 2077 because I'm stuck at the Pan Am missions right now and it keeps breaking my game. Pan
My
Am for whatever
condolences.
reason, dude. My save is like 2 years old,
Oh, yeah.
and
yeah.
Pan Am randomly stops driving all the time.
Oh god. Actually, because of Edge Runners, I recently was like, "Hey, can we all agree that Judy is better than Carrie, who is better than River, because he's a fucking cop and he's still better than Panam?" And everyone was like, "Yeah, actually, we are the best love interest in the game gay. That's not fair."
I've kind of grown up a bit, and I'm kind of the opinion anymore where like I don't need a romance in my video games.
Yeah, same.
But the fact that Pan Am is the heterosexual option seems like a huge slap in the face.
I mean, you could play a girl and date River. He's cool.
No, you know who I want to bag, but you can't bag?
Yeah.
At the very beginning of the game, when they're kind of doing like pseudo tutorial missions when you're still with your buddy,
Mhm.
there's that Corpo chick where if you run the Corpo backstory,
Yeah.
there's the one where you can like manipulate her a little bit, and she's like an alpha chick.
hmm
That's the one I would go after.
I mean, yeah, you can have a one night stand with her and get a deal out of that. That's true.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. But I'm like, I want to continue that because if you give me Pan Am, I'm gonna kill myself. Let me bang Wakako. I'd take her over Pan Am.
You know what? Yeah, that's fair, actually. Oh,
So-
man. But yeah, with the corpo, she just died on my run because I decided, you know what? I'm not fucking over Maelstrom. And then I just shot all of them anyway in another mission. So, yeah.
So there you go. There's our opinion on everything. We're still alive. Yeah, and we'll hopefully keep coming back.
Yeah. Maybe, hopefully, some good anime will come out. Actually, you know what? Fucking next season, that's going to be a banger. So, hey, here's hoping.
I don't know. I know this is not surprising because it's a Moth take, but I'm not I'm not excited for Chainsaw Man.
No, I know you're not, but Mob Psycho is getting a third season. I'm very excited for that.
Oh, I think Golden Kamui season 4 starts next season too.
Oh, yeah. The manga finished, right?
Yeah, the manga finished, and so spoilers because I'm the only person who gives a crap about the manga.
I was about to say I need to get on that. So
The manga ran as a seinen, and so a huge fear a lot of fans had was that Sugimoto was gonna basically groom a Serpa into being his child wife.
Mhm.
You don't know any of these characters.
I know their faces, but not their names. But
Okay, Sugimoto's the main character, and a Serpa is the Ainu girl that basically it's his cute item the entire series.
That's what I assumed. Yeah.
Yeah. So everyone was afraid that like the mangaka was going to write it so that Sugimoto and a Serpa bone. Instead, he spoiler, Sugimoto and a Serpa both live, and Sugimoto decides to spend the rest of his life living in her village.
Nice.
Yeah, so it's like the ending that everybody's like, holy crap, he didn't groom a child and he didn't die. Yay.
Woo!
So-
For once.
Yeah, right? So, yep, there we go. There's been the podcast. Not excited for Chainsaw Man. Expect me to complain about it when the episode airs.
See you then.
Yep. See you next time.
Boo boo.